Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namaha Pankajanabhaya Namaha Pankajamalini Namaha Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajagriye Jaya Deva Deva Jagannatha Prapanarti Vinashana Pahimam Trahimam Pundarikaksha Patitam Bhava Sagare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear worshipful devotees, thank you so much for joining. We are reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 5, Durvâsâ Muni's life spared. So we read till text number 17 yesterday. Durvâsâ Muni was glorifying about the greatness of a devotee over a mystic yogi. So he did said multiple verses like a devotee. Nothing is impossible for him and to do, and nothing is impossible for him to give up. So, because he's always thinking about Krishna, simply by hearing the holy name. So, and look at the tolerance of Durvâsâ Muni. He did not commit a tit for tat reaction, rather he tolerated. So a lot of wonderful qualities are shared by Durvâsâ Muni of Ambarish Maharaj. Sorry, I think I misspoke. I interchanged them. But Ambarish Maharaj is the great devotee here, and Durvâsâ Muni is glorifying his excellent qualities. So let's see the next verse, text number 18. Rajatam akrita harah pratyagamana kankshaya charnava upasangrihya prasadya sambhojayat. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Expecting the return of Durvâsâ Muni, the king had not taken his food. Therefore, when the sage returned, the king fell at his lotus feet, pleasing him in all respects, and fed him sumptuously. Hare Krishna. So, a lot of time had passed, and Durvâsâ Muni had not eaten. Why? Because Durvâsâ Muni was the guest of Ambarish Maharaj. And when Ambarish Maharaj had drank water, Durvâsâ Muni got upset, and then he created the fire demon, ran all over. We read all that things. But what was Ambarish doing? King Ambarish doing? He was not saying, okay, it's Durvâsâ's problem. I didn't do anything wrong to him. He was trying to kill me, right? Why should I stay hungry? He was feeling bad that my guest has not eaten. So he was basically waiting that Durvâsâ Muni would come, and then he would get chance to serve him and then take his prasad. So exemplary behavior of again Ambarish Maharaj here, that he was willing to wait for so long. He fell at his feet. He didn't chastise Durvâsâ Muni. Hey, why did you create the fire monster? I was not trying to kill you. Why were you trying to kill me? He didn't remember all that. He remembered that I could not serve Durvâsâ properly. I was waiting for him. So then he gave him all respects and then fed. Nice prasad. So let's see the next verse. Yes, Nandini Mataji, you want to read 19?
Yes, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, all devotees. All praise to Srila Prabhupada. So Shitva Dhruta Manitam Atityam Sarvakamikam Triptatman Rupatim Praha Bhujyatamiti Sadaram. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus the king respectfully received Durvâsâ Muni, who after eating varieties of palatable food was so satisfied that with great affection he requested the king to eat also, saying, "Please take your meal." So here we see the most important principle of hospitality. When you feed a guest sumptuous prasadam, then he's very satisfied, and the blessings come from devotees. In this regard, one time Malati Mataji was saying the story that they were very new. It was not even ISKCON temple was not established. It was just her first or second time coming to Vrindavan with Prabhupada. And there was a tremendous, we heard this story by Narayani Mataji. There was a great disturbance and people were envious and they came to attack. And Malti Prabhu didn't know what else to do. So they decided, you know what, we have plenty of prasadam. We are just going to give them prasadam. We let them attack. We're not going to defend ourselves, but we are just going to give this. They're local Brajavasis after all. And they served prasadam, and the attackers literally forgot why they had come for. And it was very, very great resolution. Back to you, Prabhu. So that's the glories of prasadam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. This is wonderful. Prabhupada transformed so many hearts through prasadam. So very, very wonderful act to distribute, because it's not different from Kṛṣṇa, whether it's the holy name, whether it's prasadam, whether it's the books, whether it's Vaishnavas, they're all actually in one way not different from Kṛṣṇa, because wherever they go, whomever they come in contact with, that person's bhakti arises. So Durvâsâ Muni was fed nicely, was satisfied, and with great affection he said, "Okay, now you also please honor them," because he had also not eaten. 1 year fasting for the whole praja, and 1 year had passed in this running of Durvâsâ Muni here and there. Can you imagine the tolerance, the austerity? Why? To please Kṛṣṇa and his devotees. So let's see the next verse, text 20. Yes, Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have a question. Actually, what yoga this like Durvâsâ Muni and this Ambarish Maharaj this past time happened? Do you have any idea?
I'm not sure, Prabhuji. I'm not sure which exactly yoga. And which Manvantar?
7th. This is the current Manvantara pastime, Prabhu.
Current Manvantara.
Yeah, and we are in the 27th Chatur Yugas for this Manu. So and there are only 4 generations from Ishwaku. So possible, first Satyuga this is going on. Although it doesn't state explicitly.
Because as a devotee definitely is possible. They are true devotees, but 2 years past time I think it should be like this when they used to live 110,000 years. Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Kali Yuga mind, so looking everything.
But Prabhu, these Munis and Saptarshis, they live for the whole day of Brahma. No, Saptarshis live for the life of Brahma, if I'm not wrong.
Okay. Harijan, download Pranam, all blessed Srila Prabhupada, text 20. Prito Ashmi Anugrahito Ashmi Tabo Bhagavatasya Bhui Darshana Sparshan Lopai Atithya Nityam me dosha. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada ki joy. Translation. Durvâsâ Muni said, I am very pleased with you, my dear king. At first I thought of you as an ordinary human being and accepted your hospitality. But later I could understand by my own intelligence that you are the most exalted devotee of the world, of the Lord. Therefore, simply by seeing you, touching your feet, and talking with you, I've been pleased and have become obliged to you. Purport, it is said, Vaishnava Priya Mudra Vigyana Bhujai. Even a very intelligent man cannot understand the activities of pure Vaishnava. Therefore, although Durvâsâ Muni was a great mystic yogi, he first mistook Maharaj Ambarîsha for an ordinary human being and wanted to punish him. Such is the mistaken observation of a Vaishnava. When Durvâsâ Muni was persecuted by the Sudarshana Chakra, however, his intelligence developed. Therefore, the word Atma Medosha is used to indicate that his personal experience he would understand how great a Vaishnava the king was. When Durvâsâ Muni was chased by the Sudarshana Chakra, he wanted to take shelter of the Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, and he was even able to go to the spiritual world, meet the person of Godhead, and talk with him face to face. Yet, he was unable to be rescued from the attack of the Sudarshan Chakra. Thus, he could understand the influence of the Vaishnava by personal experience. Durvâsâ Muni was certainly a great yogi and a very learned Brahmana. But despite his being a real yogi, he was unable to understand the influence of Vaishnava. Therefore, it is said, Vaishnava Priyamudha began Bhujai. Even the most learned person cannot understand the value of a Vaishnava. There is always a possibility for so-called gyanis and yogis to be mistaken when studying the character of a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava can be understood by how much he is favored by the Supreme Godhead in terms of his inconceivable activities. Very nice verse, and we see in the Bhagavatam again and again that how Vaishnava was protected by the Lord, even they did not want anything from the Lord, and even they did not curse anything, but Lord again comes again and again to save the Vaishnava. That is the power of the Vaishnava. They don't have to show any mysticism, any kind of any pure devotee. They are protected by the Lord. So in this case, the thing is that like apuni achi dharma aprishikai. So a Vaishnava actually just being a humble devotee of Lord can teach and can make others devotee. Like here we see like Ambarish Maharaj just being humble. He made great mystic yogi Durvâsâ Muni a devotee also, and make him understand the power of a being a devotee.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you. So we should not consider Vaishnavas as ordinary living beings. Someone is telling. Or nor should one judge one's act. Oh, this is doing like this. Because Prabhupada is quoting this Vaishnavira, Kriya Mudra Vigina Bhujai. It's hard to understand sometimes. Okay, let's continue with the next verse. Canto, Prabhu, you want to read?
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Text 21. Karma vadatam etatte gayanti swastriyo muhuhu kirtim parama punyam cha etayasyati purya iyam. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Jai Shri Prabhupada. All the blessed women in the heavenly planets will continuously chant about your spotless character at every moment, and the people of this world will also chant your glories continuously. Thank you, Prabhuji. Back to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. It's quite straightforward. Durvâsâ Muni is speaking that everyone will chant about your glories. Ebe yasha goshutri bhuvana. Right? You sing that. So everyone glorifies a pure devotee. Srila Prabhupada, everyone is glorifying. If all the temples, so many, we say every day, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, so many times. Right, in the Prema-dhvani prayers, in the Kirtan, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, in the Arati. Because Kṛṣṇa likes that. Kṛṣṇa likes his devotees to be glorified more than his own self. So, what to speak of pure devotees like Ambarish Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, Prahlad Maharaj, Srūpa Maharaj. Bhagavatam is what? Full of stories about Krishna's devotees. And we have read that multiple times. Kṛṣṇa Katha does not mean Krishna's pastimes. It certainly means that Kṛṣṇa Katha also means the pastimes and the activities of Krishna's devotees. That's also Kṛṣṇa Katha. Rather, Krishna likes to hear that more. Like for those who are your parents, or about your children more. Right? Everyone wants to hear about their children. Oh, what he did in school, what he did in college, what he did here, how is he doing, what new things he learned, right? No one wants to hear, they want to hear about their children more. That's the natural parental instinct. And as we discussed, love me, love my dog. If in US, if someone is taking care of their dog and walking down the street, you say, oh sir, you are very nice, you are this, you are that, but your dog is the worst I've ever seen. Guess what? The person would be very happy. Rather you say, okay, your shirt is not so good, but your dog is one of the finest I've ever seen. What's his name? You kind of say hello, he'll love you. He'll be the best of his friends. Love me, love my dog. Kṛṣṇa wants his devotees to be glorified all over the world. Therefore, all the people of this world will continuously chant your glories, referring to Ambarish Maharaj. Let's see what happens further. Yes. Mataji, you want to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam to everyone. Text 22. Sri Shukha Uvacha Evam Sankirtya Rajanam Durvashaha Paritoshitaha Yayayu Vyaya Samantrya Brahmalokam Ahetukam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Shukadev Goswami continued, thus being satisfied in all respects, the great mystic yogi Durvâsâ took permission and left, continuously glorifying the king. Through the skyways, he went to Brahmaloka, which is devoid of agnostics and dry philosophical speculators. Purport. Although Durvâsâ Muni went back to Brahmaloka through the spaceways, he did not need an airplane. For great mystic yogis can transport themselves from any planet to any other without any machine. There is a planet named Siddhaloka, whose inhabitants can go to any other planet because they naturally have all the perfection of yoga practice. Thus, Durvâsâ Muni, the great mystic yogi, could go through the skyways to any planet, even to Brahmaloka. In Brahmaloka, everyone is self-realized, and thus there is no need of philosophical speculation to come to the conclusion of the absolute truth. Durvâsâ Muni's purpose in going to Brahmaloka was apparently to speak to the residents of Brahmaloka about how powerful a devotee is and how a devotee can surpass their every living entity within this material world. The so-called Gyanis and Yogis cannot compare to a devotee. Very nice translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. So here, Shukadev Goswami is telling to Parikshit Maharaj that Durvâsâ Muni left Ambarish Maharaj's kingdom and went to Brahmaloka, and still he was glorifying the king. And here, it looks like Durvâsâ Muni lives in Siddha Loka, and from this Siddha Loka, who the residents, Durvâsâ Muni is one of the resident, and that's why he can go to different lokas, and he went to Brahma lokas to glorify the devotees. So here the Gyan Yogis devotees are always superior than any Gyanis and Yogis. So it's also in Bhagavad Gita also, it's also states that devotees are always superior than the Gyanis and Yogis. And that's what Durvâsâ Muni also going to tell to the Brahmalokas, the residents of Brahmaloka, what he experienced with Ambarish Maharaj episode. Back to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So Durvâsâ Muni is personally glorifying, not only in that planet where this pastime is happening. Where is this happening? Can anyone tell? Where was Ambarish Maharaj doing tapasya?
Madhuban, I guess, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yes, Madhuban. And another great devotee named Dhruv Maharaj was also doing tapasya there later or earlier. So yes. So basically, Ebe Yasha Gusha Tribhuvana. The Yasha, the glory, Yasha means glories, is being glorified all over. The pure devotees glorified all over. Just recently, with the Thakur's disappearance day was there. I'm not sure if all of you heard the YouTube video I shared, but there was a nice sweet pastime in there of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. That one time he was traveling with his son, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he suddenly just passed away, just collapsed on a train station. And he was like unconscious. And he was unconscious for some time, like 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Time passed by. And then suddenly he came back to consciousness. And then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur asked, are you okay? He said, actually, demigods had called me to explain this verse, Apichet Suduracharo Bhajate Mamananya Bhak Sadhureva Samantavya Samyak Vyavastita Visa. So, again, with their transcendental body, the spirit, they can travel. Like the pure devotees also have this siddhi, like Narad Muni, traveling. Bhakti, Thakur example I just shared. So even the demigods used to call. Even Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur also, many pastimes are there. They would call in the upper planets. I shared a story recently about Punthanam. I'm not sure if all of you have read that. Did everyone read? Who all read that? It's in the group anyways. Anyway, the story is that Lord Shiva wanted to hear Bhagavatam from him. Lord Shiva wanted to hear. Lord Shiva was so Punthanam was reading, and then later he would put the bookmark on that chapter in the 10th canto. And okay, I'll read from the next chapter. Let's say 9.5 we completed 9.5. I'll read from 9.6. I'm just giving example. And Lord Shiva would come and put back at 9.5 because he wanted to hear that. Every day he would do like this. And then one day Punthanam saw that Lord Shiva is putting. And then he was having a conversation with Parvati. Did you like Bhagavatam? She said yes. but not as good as Punthanam. The way he recites, he narrates is amazing. And Lord Shiva says, yes, you're absolutely right. So Lord Shiva was glorifying, and then Punthanam saw all that. So the point is, pure devotees have all these siddhis, but they're not after all these siddhis. Durvâsâ Muni had this siddhi, but Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakalev Ashanta. Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakalev Ashanta. They're always Ashanta. By getting some special privileges, some special siddhis, what will come? Pride will come, right? Imagine if someone has this special siddhi, they can, walk in the space or get anything what they desire in their hands and get a lot of pride, except for pure devotees. Kṛṣṇa Bhakta Nishkama Sakaleva Shanta. Kṛṣṇa Bhakta is Nishkam, without desires, without lust. They have only love, prema. Ratan Thakur also says that Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, etc. are keval Vishera Bhanda. ये विश का भांडा है. Bhanda means bartan. Bartan means what? Vessel, container. They are containers of poison. Nana yoni sada fire. They will make one wander in the cycle of birth and death. So in short, Bhakti Yoga is the topmost thing. One should take it fully. Okay, so we read till 22, I believe. 23, and someone who has not yet read wants to read.
I can read, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Text number 23. Samvata Svaro Tyagata Pavata Yavata Nagato Gataha Munistada Darshana Kankshiko Rajabhaksho Bhavuvaha. Translation by English A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Durvâsâ Muni had left the place of Maharaja Ambarîsha, and as long as he had not returned, for 1 complete year, the king had fasted, maintaining himself simply by drinking water. Thank you, Prabhu. Back to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. I think we discussed this point. So 1 year he had already fasted because of the Ekadashi and the Kartik Mass was going on. And now 1 year he is fasting because of to give prasadam to his guests before he honors prasadam. 1 year. 1 year. You can just meditate upon that. Whatever yoga was that's secondary thing, right? In nowadays, one will not even wait for 1 or 2 hours, but to speak of a day or 2, right? So you can just think about this, the devotion of Ambarish Maharaj. And that too for pretty much who was considering him to be his enemy, was trying to kill him. He was not the best of the friends. Oh, my best friend is coming, I will eat prasadam with him only. Otherwise, I'll wait. Oh, his train got late. Okay, no worries. It's only 1 day. I can also wait for 2-3 hours. Oh, his flight got late. Okay, I'll wait. I'll eat with my best friend. No, it was the one trying to kill him. So let's see text 24. Anyone wants to read this? Lakshmi Mataji, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna all devotees. Text 24. Gateta Durvâsī Ambarîsho Dvijopayogatim pavitram aharat Risher vimoksham vyashanam cha vikshya Mene svaviryam cha para anubhavam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. After 1 year, when Durvâsâ Muni had returned, King Ambarish sumptuously fed him with all varieties of pure food, and then he himself also ate. When the king saw that the Brahmana Durvâsâ had been released from the great danger of being burned, he could understand that by the grace of the Lord, he himself was also powerful, but he did not take any credit for everything had been done by the Lord. Purport. A devotee like Maharaj Ambarish is certainly always busy in many activities. Of course, this material world is full of dangers that one has to meet, but a devotee, because of his full dependence on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is never disturbed. The vivid example is Maharaj Ambarish. He was the emperor of the entire world and had many duties to perform. And in the course of his duties, there were many disturbances created by persons like Durvâsâ Muni. But the king tolerated everything, patiently depending fully on the mercy of the Lord. The Lord, however, is situated in everyone's heart, Sarvasya Chaham Hridisannivishto, and he manages things as he desires. Thus, although Maharaj Ambarish was faced with many disturbances, the Lord, being merciful to him, managed things so nicely that in the end, Durvâsâ Muni and Maharaj Ambarish became great friends and parted cordially on the basis of Bhakti Yoga. After all, Durvâsâ Muni was convinced of the power of Bhakti Yoga, although he himself was a great mystic yogi. Therefore, as stated by Lord Kṛṣṇa in Bhagavad Gita 6.47, Yohinam abhisarvesham mad gate antaratmana Shridavan bhajante yomam same yuktatmo mataha. Of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. Thus, it is a fact that a devotee is the topmost yogi, as proved in the dealings of Maharaj Ambarish with Durvâsâ Muni. Back to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for joining. We have been missing your association. It's been a while. I hope everything is okay.
Yes, Prabhuji, everything is fine by the mercy of Krishna. I too miss the classes. I'm happy to join again, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Now you have to tell some nectar. You must be reading, hearing a lot, so you have to pour upon us. So please share something connected to this verse.
Yes, Prabhuji, so from the purport, it's very clearly said that devotee is a topmost yogi. So in the entire Ambarish Maharaj and Durvâsâ Muni episode, we can see the power of a pure devotee and how much it's important that Durvâsâ Muni was in the previous verses. We are seeing that he saw Ambarish Maharaj as a normal human being. So how much we have to give respect, and we have to be seeing a devotee, or we have to respect a Vaishnava, like so much we see God. We have to respect them, and we have to love them as we give the importance to Lord Kṛṣṇa. So that's what I understand, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. This is so perfect. Prabhupada is giving us a very, very lot of nice messages here. Number one, a devotee is certainly very busy in many activities. Activities basically means devotional services. Whether it's the ruling the kingdom, taking care of whatever, it was a devotional service. Because nothing is independent for a devotee. Everything is kind of connected to Krishna. So busy in seva, not in Netflix or other sense things. So we have to try. So our weekend mind, empty mind is Devil's workshop. Then Maya will creep in. Another great lesson here is that during the course of devotional service, there will be many disturbances by persons like Durvâsâ Muni. But the king tolerated everything patiently, depending upon the full mercy of Lord. So we can also apply this, that during the course of our duties, our devotional service, our reading, hearing, chanting, seva, office, job, business, book distribution, whatever, there will be some opposition. There will be some disturbances. This opposition basically helps us to get stronger. But what we have to do, patiently tolerate. Tatte nukampam susumikshamano bhunjane vatma kritam vipakam hridvagvapurbhir vidadhan namaste jivetyo mukti pade sadaya bhak. Lord Brahma also says this in Canto 10, chapter 14. Very, very famous prayer Prabhupada quotes. So we have to patiently tolerate, depending upon who? Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa, you help me out. You are the cause of everything. You are the master of everything. Without you, nothing can happen. Mare Kṛṣṇa rakhe ke rakhe Kṛṣṇa mare ke. We will do our best, then leave the rest. So, how to tolerate, depending upon Krishna's mercy. And then, learning to face disturbances. So, and then what happened? Durvâsâ Muni also became friends with Ambarish Maharaj, to the extent that he was glorifying him even in the Brahma Loka. So, a lot of wonderful lessons are there. How to be tolerant, how to be always busy in devotional services. Any other comments? I guess Kirti Mataji, you want to say something?
I will read the next verse. Prabhu.
Sure, please.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Text 25. Evam vidhaneka gunasaraja Paramatmani Brahmani Vasudeve Kriya Kalyape Samuvaha Bhaktim Yaya Virichana Nirmayaschakara. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In this way, because of devotional service, Maharaja Ambarîsha, who was endowed with varieties of transcendental qualities, was completely aware of Brahman, Paramatma, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus he executed devotional service perfectly. Because of his devotion, he thought even the topmost planet of this material world no better than the hellish planets. Purport. At an exalted and pure devotee like Ambarish Maharaja, in his full awareness of Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, in other words, a devotee of Vasudeva, Kṛṣṇa, is in full knowledge of other feature of the absolute truth. The absolute truth is realized in three features: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti Shabdyate. A devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, knows everything, Vasudeva Sarvam iti, because Vasudeva, Kṛṣṇa, includes both Paramatma and Bhagavan. One does not have to realize Paramatma by the yoga system. For the devotee, always thinking of Vasudeva is the topmost yogi, yoginam api sarvesham. And as far as jnana is concerned, if one is perfect devotee of Vasudeva, he is greatest Mahatma. Vasudeva sarva itim sa Mahatma sudurlabha. A Mahatma is a one who has full knowledge of absolute truth. Thus, Maharaja Ambarîsha, being a devotee of Supreme Personality of Godhead, was in full awareness of Paramatma, Brahman, Maya, the material world, the spiritual world, and how things are going on everywhere. Everything was known to him. Yasmin vinijate sarvam evam vinijatam bhaveti. Because the devotee knows Vasudeva, he knows everything within the creation of Vasudeva. Vasudeva sarva iti sa mahatma sudurlabha. Such a devotee does not give much value to the highest standards of happiness within this material world. Narayana para sarve na kutastha viyanti sarva ga parva narakesva api tulyartha darshinaha. Because he is fixed in devotional service, a devotee does not regard any position in the material world. Important, Sri Prabodhananda Saraswati has therefore written in Chaitanya Chandamrita 5. Kaivalyam narakayete tridasapura aksha pushyapate durante driyakala sarva prapti pratho katha dama shriyate vishwam purna sukhalaya vidhi mahendrasicha kitayate ya karune katasya vaibhava vantam tam gurum evas tumaha. For one who become pure devotee through the devotional service to great personality like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kaivalya, or merging into Brahmana appears no better than the hell. As far as the heavenly planets are concerned, to a devotee, they are like Phantasmagoria or will the wisp. And as far as a yogi perfection is concerned, a devotee does not care a fig for such perfection. Since the purpose of yogic perfection is achieved automatically by the devotee, this is all possible when one becomes devotee of the Lord through the medium of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction. So this is very big purport given by Prabhupada ji, but he has explained the qualities of Maharaja Ambarîsha and how he achieved the position by doing the devotional service. He was completely aware of Brahman, Paramatma, and Vasudeva. And Prabhupada ji gave the very nice example that he was doing the devotional service with like 9 process he was doing. In the previous chapter, we have read that he was engaging all his senses serving the Lord. And with that perfection, he was able to control his mind and when Durvâsâ was angry at him. And that was the perfection he got through his devotional service. And as Prabhupada is saying that the devotee, such like Ambarish Maharaj, he was like Mahatma, and he was like very Durlabha, Sudurlabha. So that's what I get, Prabhu. Thank you. You can add more.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Very, very nice verse again by Shukadeva Goswami here. So, a devotee considers the topmost planet of the material world What's that one? What's the topmost planet of the material world?
Brahmaloka.
Brahmaloka. Yes. And the hellish planets as same. Can anyone share any verse to prove that? Except for this one. From Bhagavad-gīta or other holy scriptures. That they are, to prove that they are kind of similar. The topmost planet, Brahmaloka, or
Abrahma Bhuvana Loko, Punarjanmana. That one.
yes, thank you, Mataji. I was also thinking of that because in the kids' class yesterday was talking about it. Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Juna Mamupetyatu Kantya Punarjanma Na Vidyate. Whether one can be even Brahma, but still one can be born again in the cycle of birth and death. Next life one could be in the hellish planets. So Kevalya Narakayati. To merge in the impersonal Brahman or to go to upper planets is not the real destination or the near aspiration of a devotee. Mukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakaleva Ashanta. This is not the real. The real yoga is Yoginam api sarvesham mad gatinantaratmana. Shraddhavan yo bhajatema. That one who renders real bhakti to Krishna, that's real bhakti yoga. That's real something which a devotee aspires for, not for mystic yogi, not for impersonalist liberation, not for the siddhis, not for dhanam janam sundarim kavitam vajagadisha. Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam vajagadisha. Mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhaktir ahetuki bhakti. That means bhakti without any hidden agenda, without motives, only spiritual agenda. Krishna, you help me to engage more in your service. This is the aspiration of a devotee, not something material. So 8.16 Bhagavad Gita also tells the same thing. So let's quickly read the last few verses of this chapter, coming to an end here. Durvâsâ Muni has gone to his place, and let's see what happened in the last few verses. Yes, 26. Who would like to read? Anjalali, would you like to read? Okay. Ashish Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prashita Madhvanam. It's text number 26. Shri Shuka Uvasha Adhambarishastanyeshu Rajyam Samana Shileshu Srvisrachyatirah Manam Viveshana Atmani Vasudeve Mano Dadatvasta Gurubravaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Shukadeva Goswami continued, thereafter, because of his advanced position in devotional life, Maharaja Ambarîsha, who no longer desired to live with material things, retired from active family life. He divided his property among his sons, who were equally as qualified, and he himself took the order of Vanaprastha and went to the forest to concentrate his mind fully upon Lord Vasudeva. Purport: as a pure devotee, Maharaj Ambarîsha was liberated in any condition of life because, as enunciated by Srila Rupa Goswami, a devotee is always liberated. Iha yasya harer dasye karmana manasa gira nikhilay sva api avasthaso jivana mukta sa uchyate. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami thus instructs that if one only desires in service to the Lord, he is liberated in any condition of life. Maharaj Ambarîsha was undoubtedly liberated in any condition. But as an ideal king, he accepted the Vanaprastha order of retirement from family life. It is essential for one to renounce family responsibilities and fully concentrate on the lotus feet of Vasudeva. Therefore, Maharaj Ambarîsha divided the kingdom among his sons and retired from family life. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So here they explain that Maharaj Ambarish was fully renunciated. He was no more detached. Even before also he was not detached. And he finally took the Vanaprastha Sannyas ashram, and he divided his kingdom into his 4 sons, which were also equally qualified like him. And here they also give the example of Srila Rupa Goswami's saying that one who has got the mercy of Lord, he's fully liberated. And Maharaj Ambarish was an ideal example of such a liberated soul. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, kindly add on. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. This is also one of the that a pure devotee is a Jivan Mukta. That means he's liberated in every state. If he would have not been a liberated person, do you think that this Sudarshan Chakra would come? And that too in front of Durvâsâ Muni, who was a very, very powerful mystic yogi. He was always completely, we have discussed in the previous chapters, his qualities. Savai manah Kṛṣṇa padara vindayo vachansi vaikuntha gunanu varnani karo harira mandira marjanadishu shrutim chakara achyuta sadkathodaye mukundaling alya darshanam dritsho tadabhritya gatra sparsha anga sangamam. Everything, hands, eyes, nose, ears, tongue, everything used in Krishna's service. Such a person is Jivan Mukta. He did not have to go to the forest, but to set the right example. Same with Kapila, the father Kardamuni. Kardamuni did not have to go to, but he also set the right example. Brahmachari Grihastha Vanaprastha. One ko prasthan kijiye. Right? That's Vanaprastha. But nowadays, one wants to do prasthan to one. Even the numbers remind us, 51. Now it's time to go to 1. 51 is 51. Ba 1. Arey ab to jao 1. 53 jo 1. 1 1 1 1. 57 58. When will you go to 1? So the numbers also remind us, but materialistic person are sthit pragya. I will. Some people say, अब तो इस घर से मेरी अर्थ ही जाएगी. I will not leave this home. My dead body will only leave this home. So much attachment to home, right? So much attachment to family. So much attachment to... Therefore, His Grace Anandavindan Prabhu was mentioning that rather than the material nature will kick us out, rather we should, not be so attached to material things of this world. Because, especially at old age, especially if one has stayed in a home a lot of years, they don't want to leave. I mean, I know so many, they'll say, no, I'll do whatever. I'll not, even if it is a tiny home or big home, I'll not leave this home. I have built this home with my blood. How can I leave this home? Right? I have built this home, with from scratch. So attachment may be there, not maybe, it's certainly there. So many stories are there, Kailash story, and so many stories are there. And then guess what will happen at the time? Attachment to home. So therefore, one should, I'm not saying that one should prematurely, go. Prabhupada gave this simple formula. Going to one means active involvement in Krishna consciousness. One can go to a holy place, one can stay inside, close to a temple, and get more involved in bhakti. This is not work for the whole life, plan one's life in a way so that the last lap of one's life, right, one can engage in more service. So this is spiritual retirement, and one must plan for that. Last 2 verses, let's quickly read those. 27 was not yet read. Miss Manjulali, you want to read?
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Itetat punyamakhyanam Amrishasya Bhupate Sankirtayan Anudhyayan Bhakto Bhagavato Bhavet. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anyone who chants this narration or even thinks of this narration about the activities of Maharaj Ambarish certainly becomes a pure devotee of the Lord. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur herein gives a very good example. When one is very eager for more and more money, he is not satisfied even when he is a millionaire or a multimillionaire, but wants to earn more and more money by any means. The same mentality is present in a devotee. The devotee is never satisfied, thinking, "This is the limit of my devotional service." The more he engages in the service of the Lord, the more service he wants to give. This is the position of a devotee. Maharaj Ambarish in his family life was certainly a pure devotee, complete in every respect, because his mind and all his senses were engaged in devotional service. Sevaya mana Kṛṣṇa padaravindayor vacham sivaikuntha gunanu varnane. Maharaj Ambarish was self-satisfied because all of his senses were engaged in devotional service. Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchate. Nonetheless, although Maharaj Ambarish had engaged all his senses in devotional service, he left his home and went to the forest to concentrate his mind fully at the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa, exactly as a mercantile man, even though complete in wealth, tries to earn more and more. This mentality of getting more and more engaged in devotional service puts one in the most exalted position. Whereas on the karma platform, the mercantile man who wants more and more money becomes increasingly bound and entangled. The devotee becomes increasingly liberated. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. So this verse is for all of you who have heard these nice narration of Ambarish Maharaj very, very sincerely. When we hear about pure devotees, certainly what will come? We'll get their qualities. So basically, one will become a pure devotee of Lord. Shukdev Goswami is telling this. So there is no doubt in the words of the scriptures. So anyone who hears these pastimes, chants these pastimes, remembers, even thinks of this narration, what to speak of the, just thinking mentally. Is it difficult to think mentally? You're driving on the road, you think of so many things. You can think of, oh, Ambarish Maharaj, look at his glories. How he was so tolerant. How he was so merciful. How he was so, didn't do tit for tat. He was tolerating. How he used his eyes in Krishna's service. How he was praying to Sudarshan Chakra. Just thinking about that like that will help us to achieve pure devotion. Because what do materialistic people think of? How do I make more money? How do I increase my business? How can I get the new deal? How do I become from millionaire to billionaire and billionaire to trillionaire and trillionaire to whatever, go to moon and make money? The point is money, money, money. There's a nice verse in Padyavali. A materialistic person counts rupees, notes, dollars, and gets kicks. Oh, I have now 10 rupees, 100,000, 10,000, 100 million, whatever. He gets kicked. Similarly, a devotee uses the fingers. They use fingers to count. No, devotee uses fingers to count mala, japa mala, and then becomes mala mal. By counting mala, one becomes really mala mal. That means real wealth comes. Because what is real wealth? Real worth is prema pumartho mahan. The love for Krishna will come by showing our eagerness to chant, eagerness to hear, eagerness to serve, eagerness to please Vaishnavas, eagerness to please Guru. This utsaha, tatra mulyam, tatra lolyam iti mulyam ekal. There is only one mula, one cause. What is that cause lalyam, lalach, spiritual desire, spiritual hunger, spiritual greed. And one who has that will become malamal, whether in material life or spiritual life. So if we show that greed, that lalyam in spiritual life, will we always be hungry for more. The more he engages in the service, the more service he wants to do, to give. Right? The more we engage in the service of the Lord, the more he will give. He will reciprocate. Because he will see my devotee is really hungry for spiritual. And the more we will shoo away from service, the less it will come. Oh, you are not interested in service. That's fine. So Krishna does not need our service. It's we who need to engage in service to purify ourselves and to develop Krishna prema. Thousands of Lakshmis are waiting to serve him. He doesn't need us. We need him. Million times more. The service he is giving us a chance to do is for our purification only. It's for our process to attain Krishna prema. So the point is one will become pure devotee. Let's read the last verse, Falashruti, and then we'll pause. Who has not yet read and wants to read this special verse?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Ambarîsha charita ye Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Mahatmana muktim prayanti te sarve bhaktya vishona prasadata. Translation and purpose. By the grace of the Lord, those who hear about the activities of Maharaja Ambarîsha, the great devotee, certainly becomes liberated or become devotees without delay. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 9th Canto, 5th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled Durvâsâ Muni's Life Spread. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Lakshay Prabhu. So what will happen? Shrinvanti. Those who hear, Shranam, Shravanam, Ambarîsha Charitam. That means the charitra or the qualities, the character of whom? Ambarish Maharaj. Basically pure devotees. This is Krishna Katha. Not just about Krishna, but about Krishna's devotees. Muktim paryanti te sarve. They will go back home, back to Godhead. Bhaktya Vishnu prasadataha. And they will achieve the mercy of the Supreme Lord, prasada, without delay. That means they will certainly get the mercy of the Lord. They will become pure devotee themselves. They will go back home, back to Godhead. That's the power of reading, hearing, remembering these wonderful pastimes of Krishna and his great devotees. So maybe we'll cover a quick summary tomorrow. Oh no, tomorrow Mataji is giving class, Govinda Mataji. So we'll hear that. But we're already a little over time, so I'll pause here, and the following, whenever we're reading next, we'll take a summary and some reflection so you can reread and remember, right? Remember, think of this chapter, think of previous chapter, and we know what will happen if you think of it, right? You'll become pure devotees, right? So not a bad idea to think about Ambarish Maharaj and his qualities, Charitam. Shri Ambarish Maharaj ki jai. Canto Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purana ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare